Hello, interweb. Today I'm going to create a character with the white box 4x6 note card, and I'm going to make a mage. Okay, so I'm going to show you how you can do this very simply in under 10 minutes. I used a program, and I'm using the same numbers for each one of my things. This is dice logs, right, or dice log. And looking at this, these scores are 10, 17, 6, 12, 12, and 15. I'm using this for all my character creation, so you can kind of see how this works. So I am now going to move us into a different thing to do our bit here. I'm going to show you where I would put my numbers if those were my numbers to put. So I am going to explain what I'm doing as I roll around for doing this. First off, my first primary score would go down into intelligence. And if I'm using this scoring technique that I talk about in another video, I would +2 here, and this is going to go, and this is kind of weird, even though it's a +2, it's -2 to my opponent. Saving throw, right? And this is really interesting because as a spellcaster, this is going to mess them up. So if they do a saving throw against my spell, it's just -2 against them, all right? The other thing too is that because my number is above 10, I can learn up to 7 languages, right? So I can put A-L-A-N-G, right? Very easily, right? Unlike, I guess it depends on the game master. I let them pick their languages as they go. They learn the languages in the field. So if you turn around, you come upon a kobold and you want to learn its language, I say, okay, you can learn your language. You make a 1d20 check or whatever it is under your intelligence. If it rolls under, you learn that language just by listening to them phonetically and all that stuff. This makes it kind of fun because you don't know what language you're going to pick in the beginning that you're going to find most important to you in the game. And so it also gives them a chance to, roll for a skill, right? The next thing I would pick, if I was a magic user, I would pick definitely dexterity as being my next score of 15. And these are the two that are giving me bonuses. This is going to be a +1. This is going to be a +1 to a ranged weapon, okay? And obviously, it's also going to give me a +1 to my AC. And that's the biggest reason why I would put it there, because you don't get armor if you're a mage, right? The next ones are going to go in any kind of general order for what you're doing. And I tend to try not to diminish a lot of my things. One of the most important ones is, let's say, Constitution. I would keep this at 12. That's going to give me a 0, but I do the thing where you have to roll for your hit points, or I just give you max hit points at first level, but you get to add your Constitution, and it gives you a little more cushion because that way you can get hit like 4 times possibly and still survive. So if I give full hit points, let's say it's a 1 hit dice, which makes that 6 hit points, it's 12 plus 6 equals 18 hit points starting. So I'm gonna put that here, okay? Now, so the rest of these things can get placed where you want them to get placed. I would also highly suggest, if you have a magic user, if you're going to tank out your strength, it's not going to do much. It's still a 0. I put that here. But I would definitely consider putting a 12 in charisma. You are going to, even though it's a 0 here, you're going to want to hire people. And your hirelings, it's determined in here what you could do. Now, without getting too long-winded about this thing, I should probably just go and actually show you what it does. Magic users are quite interesting in that regard because they will eventually want someone to help them. And when I say help them, I call it meat shields and hirelings. I have a video about it right here. But here's your hirelings. So 9 through 12, 4, you don't get a loyalty bonus here. But if you're trying to talk someone into being a hireling, if you have to roll under a 12, it's a whole lot easier than rolling under a 10. I mean, to some degree. So I would just keep that in mind that, your score of charisma really should be looked at as going to something that's going to be utilized for hiring people. That's pretty important, especially when you're a magic user. So I'm going to put that in that spot. So my last score is 6, which is horrible. It's a -1, and it's going to go in my wisdom spot, okay? I'm not very wise, but I'm really smart. I'm young. They say he's a young wizard, right? So now I can just put in my armor class. My armor class is going to be 10 because I can't wear armor, right? and I get a +1 because my dexterity. So I could just put 11 in here. When I go to the next things to fill things out, I'll show you how things kind of go with that. So when looking at the rest of this stuff, you're going to be a magic user, right? Magic user. You can only carry as many things, right, as your strength allows. And your strength in this case is 10. I can carry 10 things. I've counted this up in their video. I'll count again. 1, 2, this counts as 1 together. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 items here, right? And once again, here's your backpack. Actually, you don't count the backpack. I screwed that up. So there's 8 items here. It's not something you're going to be carrying. And this one will give you 9, okay? And this is where it's kind of important to keep this in mind, that you can have something on you. Now, if you're a cheap, I would say, a magic user that doesn't have that many things, right? Or doesn't want this many things, suppose you're not strong enough, you still pay the 50 and let's say I'm going to drop something. I tell you what, I can't afford, I'm getting rid of the rope. I'm not carrying 50-foot of rope, okay? So if you take that, you scratch that out, okay? And then you can just move this down to 7, all right? And like I said, this is one way. The magic users, like if you're not going to have an incredible strength for doing things, this is one way of doing it, right? Another thing is you can say, look, I could do all this. I'm not carrying the 2 30-pound sacks, right? I'm not carrying a crowbar. You got me. This is like things you could scratch off your list. Let's see what I could do. If I scratch off crowbar, right? And let's say I count as these guys, and if I do my count, and like I said, I count the food all at 1 unit, right? So I got this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I got 6 items, okay? Like I said, this is up to your game master on how you want to do it. I do it like this because it makes it easier on my players. So he's going to take pack A for 50 gold pieces, and he gets this, all this stuff, okay? You could take the prices off of that if you want, or if you want to just be kind of, it's 10 less, let's just say, all right? One thing that magic user is supposed to have, and I'm going to write it here, it's 100 gold pieces for a spell book, right? Some DMs just give it to them, right? I don't. I just say, no, you could get some scroll tubes. I think they're only like 5 gold pieces each. You're only going to get 1 spell anyways. So when you make enough and you go to the dungeon or whatever you're going to do and you come back, then you can buy yourself a spell book. There's nothing wrong. You can use to scroll up until the point of you're going to be doing whatever you're going to do. So it's different for each person. I believe in just you should earn the money and therefore it means more. Right? I sound like a father telling his kid to go cut the lawn right now. But that's just kind of the tactic I would use for doing this, right? Mage, I like them with the staff. I think they look cool like that. It can hit something from a distance and it does 1d6 worth of damage, okay? If your DM allows, which I tend to allow, darts are wonderful, okay? They can carry a whole bunch of them and they use their dexterity for hitting. He does not get a strength bonus. He's 0 level. He has a strength that actually, it's 10, so there's 0 for that. This, you're not gonna do much. But your base to hit bonus and your dexterity, which is +1, he's going to be able to use darts, or she, if it's a female magic user, right? Your dexterity is just this, so it's 10 + 1, that's 11. So let's think about what a dart is. So, and this has to do with the advanced D&D, all right? That's where you get the darts. Yeah, I let characters carry up to 12 of them, all right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this, right? All the way from here to here. I cross these out, okay? So they could use these circles above, right? So I could do this to make it even more standoutish, right? And so when they throw darts, they're able to retrieve them. Basically, it's like little throwing knives or Chinese stars kind of looking things, right? So I could say that he has 12 darts, right? He could throw them 3 at a time, right? So the rate of fire is 3. So 3 times, and they do 1d3 worth of damage. So basically, I let them just roll once, or they can roll 3 d20s, whatever they want, and then basically just figure out by taking a d6 and dividing the numbers by 2 to find out how much damage they've done. So that's a nice thing for a magic user to have. So I would count like these darts. If you have like, you could carry 3 of them equals 1. So he has several of these. This would be worth a 4. So you might not want 12 darts. You might just want, you know, like I said, 6 for doing what you want to do. Or you could sit there and say, well, they're like little tiny throwing knives. They don't weigh that much. They can get all 12 and it counts as a one. Once again, talk to your game master for what feels most comfortable doing that. Or you can go back to what they say originally, book is count everything up in pounds and stuff. I don't do it. I just think it's horribly cumbersome to have them do all that math. It's not fun. It's just a game with a bunch of numbers. In the end, they could also strap a dagger on them. Now, look, this is what I do. I do not count weapons in hand against their strength. So a staff or the dagger being on his belt, I don't count that against him, or even the scroll tube. All right, those items don't count against his strength. I just consider them the stuff in your backpack that can't be above his strength number. So that's something to think about. So looking at this is pretty much how you fill the card out for a magic user. It's pretty straightforward. Magic user saving throw into the book, I think it says 15, so I'll just put this in. So the card's set up for a certain way. The important playing numbers are out here in front. So armor class, hit points, your saving throw, that's all here, right? And then if you're doing skill checks like 1d20 or 3d6 under the number, right here in front, and these are all the things, like I said, you just take a look at notes of what all these things do. It makes it like a very easy way of, like I said, you cut it out, you put it on a note card, glue it on with the glue stick, and boom, you're ready to go. You can keep them all day and night. All right, with that, interweb, I hope you have a great day, and thanks for listening, okay?